So hi girls, I know you all wanted my recipe for the bread that I made, and I posted the picture of that. Actually is my mom's recipe. I have no idea where she got it from, and when I was like 13 years old I like typed out the recipe and I have it still. So I just thought I would make it the other day and it turned out so good. And I know you wanted the recipe, so you know I'm really bad at writing recipes, even though I have a recipe book out there, the Lots of Matzah or the Mastery of Matzah, and someday I'm going to write another cookbook, but I just hate writing recipes. So I thought I'd do a little video instead to just and hopefully won't take too long, but to walk you through just how to make this incredible bread. It's great for sandwiches and it's great for toast. It's so good for toast. Oh my gosh. It's so good. It's one of my favorite because you slice it really thin and you get it real toasty. It kind of crunches in your mouth, but you can make big thick slices too and put a ton of butter on it, and it's just so good. So it's the most amazing sandwich bread I think I've ever made. It's kind of, anyway, just come with me into my kitchen, and I'm gonna have to video some by myself. Maggie will help me video a little bit too throughout the day, but really this is not that hard and it is really fun, and I do it really fast and sloppily. You know, I have flour all over the kitchen when I'm done baking and cooking anything actually, because I just have more of a, I don't know, an artistic approach to it. So if you tell me it has to be like 1 teaspoon, I think 2 teaspoons are better kind of idea, which doesn't make me a very good cook. Actually, I'm a very good cook. So anyway, I just go by taste and feel. So I'm going to just kind of video me making the bread today because I'm all out and I need some more. And so I thought of you guys, and I can't remember all of you, but I know there's a lot of my friends that have said they wanted this. So follow me into the kitchen, okay? Okay, so walk this way with me and come into my kitchen. It's pretty small, but it totally gets the job done and I absolutely love it. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to get some stuff that we need. First thing is definitely the recipe. So we're going to do the recipe, and then we're going to get other things that we need. So we can start. Got some flour there, and here we go. So come with me. First you're going to dissolve 2 packages of dry yeast into a 1/2 cup of lukewarm water. Now, package of dry yeast is about 3 teaspoons as far as I understand. Okay, and then to kind of get the yeast kind of going and starting to like move, I put in a little bit of sugar to help make the yeast grow fast, and so that I know that it works. And I always put my yeast on the stove so that it stays nice and warm, and then I watch it grow. Okay, so now I'm going to put the sugar, salt, shortening milk, and boiling water into this bowl, and then I'm going to mix it until the shortening is broken up. So I'm going to do that and I'll be back. Okay, so I have my boiling water right there. I have my rice milk getting warm right here, and my yeast is almost done. So I'm going to take my warm, I use rice milk just because that's all I had right now. Otherwise I would totally use cow milk or goat milk or some other milk, but right now that's all that's all I got right here, so that's what I'm gonna do. So 2 cups of boiling water. Okay, so my shortening is all broken up. As you see, it's dissolved. So I'm going to start adding my flour, my white flour, and my yeast. So we add, what was it called? 7 cups of white flour. And then I'm going to add my yeast. Yeast looks great. I remember my mom making this when I was a kid, and I'm sure she didn't do it quite half as sloppily as I do, but nevertheless it will get done. I'll make bread. May not be as pretty as a process as hers, but I'll make it and it'll be nummy. My dough is a little bit wet, so I'm going to add some more white flour. And just for the record, I I'm like more like a chef kind of thing because I always feel it, so I don't really follow recipes really good. Nor do I know how to cook indoors or bake indoors, because when we lived out in the teepee, I threw threw my food all over the forest floor, and it was awesome. So now when I have to cook in a real kitchen, I'm constantly like making a huge disaster, of which my poor girls have to clean up after me. But anyway, you just gotta like work it. I think I'm gonna have to add some more flour, and I'm almost out of white flour, so I'm gonna add some spelt. But you gotta just kind of beat it. See, I don't measure anything. I really don't. I feel it. That's why I'm videoing, because if I tried to write this down, which I'll try to do anyway for you, but if I tried to write it down, I would just totally like give you a false impression of how to do this, because it's really by feel. So you just really have to cook a lot, bake a lot in order to know how things are supposed to feel. So I do my first knead in the pan or in the bowl. And I guess the bigger the bowl, the better it would be. So I do my first knead into this. So the recipe calls for like, I think it's 10 cups, no, 11 cups of flour, but a lot of times it'll be 11 cups plus, you know, whatever it takes. Sometimes that's a couple more cups of flour, depending on what kind of flour you have. And I'm sure the barometric pressure has a lot to do with it, and all kinds of things. You know?
And 1 and 2 and 2 and 1. Oh shucks, I can't dance.
The Messiah Yeshua was born in Bethlehem, which was is the house. It means the house of bread, Bethlehem, and he was born in a sukkah during the feast of Sukkot, on the first high Shabbat of the feast of Sukkot, and he was that a sukkah is a temporary dwelling, and then he was laid. Guess what? Not in a manger. He was, because he wasn't born in a barn or stable. He was born in a sukkah, and the people who were traveling for the feast of Sukkot would have had with them one of the biggest items would have been a bread bowl, or the people who were hosting the family that came to stay with them in their sukkah would have had a bread trough. Yeah, so the bread of life is actually laid in a bread bowl or a bread trough. How cool is that? I just love that. Okay, so I'm gonna turn this out, and I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do. Actually, hold on. I think that's pretty good. So you just gotta get it all mixed in as best you can. So I oil this big. I just put a little oil on this so that the bread doesn't stick to it when it rises. And the trick with this bread actually is the 3 rises it does outside of the oven. So it'll actually do a 4th rise in the oven. I'm going to cover it with a dark towel because yeast likes dark. And cover it with a dark towel, and I'm going to put it on the stove to rise, and then I'll come back. It's risen for about an hour and a half, so I'll punch it down, knead it a bit, put it back in the bowl, and let it rise for another 45 minutes or so. Hard to do with one hand. Maggie's gone. She went to get wood. So I'm going to knead this. I might put a little bit of flour in there. I'm not sure because it's a little sticky. So I just kneaded it in the bowl in order to get all the air bubbles out. So you'll hear the air bubbles start to like pop. It's basically you're getting a really nice tight loaf of bread by doing that. So there's my dough that's going to rise again for 45 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and put my towel over it and set it back on the stove. Now we have to prepare our pans. One of the things I was going to tell you was that I know that the quality of ingredients is really important. So I'm a huge fanatic and advocate of GMO-free food as well as organic. So anyway, so everything you see here is all organic and all GMO-free for sure. Preparing your pans is a really important step so that your, as you all know, your loaves come out Real easy. So isn't this beautiful? I just think this is so gorgeous. Second rise. So now we're gonna punch this down. See, I got a little bit of skin on it, so I didn't put enough oil on it. One thing that I do is I knead it again to get air bubbles out. And I'm just kind of throwing it around. You can kind of hear them squeaking out. So there's my basically my 5 loaves. So now I'm gonna knead. Okay, so I formed my loaves. I'm gonna do a few rolls for some sandwiches, but I'm going to cover them with a towel and let them rise till double. And I love to let stuff rise on the oven because I've already got it on preheating, so it's nice and warm. So they'll rise pretty fast, but they gotta rise to like about over the edge of the pan, and then they'll do the 4th rise in the oven. So I believe that's the key to this. Okay, so they've been rising for probably about 40 minutes or so, and I think this is pretty good. They're above the rim of the pan. So I'm gonna go ahead and take my chances. I'd like them to be just a little bit higher, but I'm afraid they're gonna fall, so I'm just going to go ahead and put them in. It's preheated oven, it's 350, and they're gonna do a 4th rise in the oven anyway. So I'm just going to get them in here, and then we bake them for, I don't know, I think it's about an hour. Okay, so I think it's been about 55 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull these. I put foil on top of them so they didn't, so they didn't burn the tops. Now the trick is to like get them out. Basically, take some shortening. This is what the recipe said to do, is take some shortening and you put it on the top of the hot loaves. And I'm not really sure what this does. Whether, like with my challah, I put egg wash on before it goes in the oven, and it makes it real glossy and real pretty. This done afterwards, I think, kind of tries to do the same thing. I'm not sure whether it gives it more of a crust or what, but this is what my mom used to do, so I'm doing it. So then I'm just gonna let them cool, and there you have it. Look at that hot bread. Nothing like it. We like big slices when we try our bread. Nice. All right, guys, have fun making bread, and let me know how it goes.